Hello and welcome to Shah's Designs. Today we're doing something a little different. We're not just creating a lettering design, we're actually going to create our own custom brush in Procreate that can turn any word into this beautiful 3D lettering effect. Stay with me because once you learn this technique, you can create your own brushes in so many different colors and styles. Let's get started. First, let's start with a plain canvas. I'm going to choose a bright red color. Now let's make a perfect circle. You know the trick by now. Draw your circle, hold your Apple Pencil at the end of the stroke and tap the screen with one finger. And there we have it, a perfect circle. Now simply use color drop to fill the circle with the same red color. We're going to build all of our 3D details inside it. Create a new layer and turn on clipping mask. I'm going to make my brush a little thinner and draw a few straight lines across the circle, horizontal and diagonal. We want to divide the circle into 8 sections. Don't worry if the lines aren't absolutely perfect. We're going to use them as a guide to create our color pattern. Now I'm going to merge this clipping mask with the red circle. And look at that, we have 8 little sections. Now comes the fun part. I'm going to select white and fill alternate sections of the circle. And just like that, we have this really cute red and white pattern. I love this technique because you can completely change the personality of the brush just by changing these colors. You could use blue and purple, green and yellow, literally anything you like. Now we need to make our little circle look three-dimensional. First, duplicate the circle layer, fill the duplicate with black and move it underneath the original. Go to Adjustments, tap on Gaussian Blur and gently swipe your Apple Pencil across the screen. I'm going to reduce the opacity a little bit so the shadow isn't too harsh. Now create another layer and turn on Clipping Mask. Select a soft brush and use black to add a subtle shadow along the bottom left side. Then switch to white and add a soft highlight towards the top right. Finally, use Gaussian Blur again to soften everything. And look at that, our simple flat circle suddenly has depth, light and dimension. This is exactly the effect we're going to carry into our lettering. Okay, now we're getting to the really satisfying part. We're going to turn this little 3D circle into an actual lettering brush. Open the brush library, find the monoline brush, duplicate it and tap on the duplicated brush to open Brush Studio. Go to Properties, set the smudge pull all the way to the maximum. Now we're going to make our circle extremely small, almost as small as possible. Place that tiny circle toward the left side of the canvas. Next, select the smudge tool and make sure its size matches the size of our little circle. I'm going to pull the circle across the canvas with the smudge tool. And look, the circle is stretching into a continuous brush stroke. And here's what's so satisfying. The red, white, highlights, shadows, and 3D effect are all traveling all along. So instead of just having a normal colored brush, we've basically created a 3D textured lettering brush from one tiny shape. If you're enjoying this little brush experiment, don't forget to subscribe to Shah's Designs. I have a lot of more Procreate experiments and easy tutorials coming your way. But we're not stopping with one brush. Let's make another one. I'm going to hide our previous layers and start again with a fresh white canvas. This time, let's use yellow. Create another perfect circle and fill it with yellow. Create a layer, turn on clipping mask, draw the same horizontal and diagonal lines to divide the circle into 8 sections. Now we'll create the second color pattern. I'm going to use black for the dividing lines and then add white to create the color variation. Blur the lines slightly so everything blends together nicely. Now we'll repeat the same 3D process. Add a new clipping mask layer. Use black on the bottom left to create the shadow and white on the top right for the highlights. Then apply Gaussian blur to soften the edges. It's amazing how changing just the colors can make the exact same technique feel completely different. Now let's turn this one into another lettering brush. Make the circle really small and make it towards the left. Select the same custom brush settings we used earlier with the maximum size turned all the way up. Now let's test it. This time I'm going to write the word summer. Just watch how the colors travel through the letters. And look at that. You get the yellow, white, and the darker shading and that little 3D dimension all from one brush. And of course, we can take it one step further. Duplicate the lettering layer and fill it with black. Move it slightly underneath the original layer, reduce the opacity to around 50 to 40 to 60%, and position it carefully. This gives us a soft drop shadow underneath the lettering and makes the whole word stand out from the canvas. And there we have it, a completely custom 3D lettering brush that we created ourselves. Once you understand the basic idea, you can create your own custom brush for almost any project. And that's it. We started with one simple circle, added a few colors, built in some shadows and highlights, and turned it into a completely custom 3D lettering brush. If you enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Shah's Designs for more creative Procreate tutorials. Thank you so much for watching and creating with me. Until next time, happy creating!